You ever pull up next to one of those gleaming monster trucks on the highway? Chrome shining, lift kit, tires big enough to climb a building, music blasting, drivers sitting up high like they own the world. And maybe they do look rich. But here's the question nobody asks. How much of that lifestyle is real, and how much of it is rented? Because there's a decent chance the person driving that truck isn't wealthy at all. They may just be normalizing an $800 monthly payment for nearly 7 years in a market where new vehicle payments averaged $770 a month, and the average new car loan stretched to about 69.5 months in Q1 2026. Over a third of new auto loans now run longer than 6 years. ISTREON, that's the trap. We've been handed an invisible manual, a script, a set of rules that sounds normal, feels responsible, even looks successful from the outside, but quietly keeps people financially stuck. The manual says, get the payment, take the loan, stay comfortable, don't ask too many questions, look rich, stay broke, and the worst part, most people don't even know they're reading from it. They think their financial struggle is just bad luck, bad timing, bad bosses, bad inflation. And yes, sometimes life absolutely hits hard. But for a lot of people, the deeper problem is this. They are following instructions that were designed to make them obedient consumers, not free investors. So in this video, we're going to tear up that manual. I'm going to show you the 7 lies society teaches that keep people poor, and what replaces them when you adopt the investor mindset. By the end, you should be able to spot the programming in real time. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Lie 1: wanting money makes you greedy. One of the first things people get taught is that wanting money is morally suspicious. If you care about wealth, you must be shallow. If you want more, you must be greedy. If you're ambitious financially, you must be less pure than the person struggling quietly. That's programming, because notice what society praises: the exhausted worker, the parent under pressure, the person getting by, the person who never asks for more. We romanticize struggle like it's a virtue, but financial stress is not noble. It is corrosive. A 2026 NEEF survey found that 88% of U.S. adults reported some form of financial stress entering the year, and 77% said they experienced a financial setback in 2025. NEEF and financial worry doesn't just hurt your wallet, it hits your mind. Research using U.S. national survey data found that higher financial worries were significantly associated with higher psychological distress. TMC. So no, wanting money is not greedy. Wanting options is not greedy. Wanting margin is not greedy. Wanting to stop living one emergency away from panic is not greedy. Here's the truth. Money is an amplifier. If you're generous broke, you'll probably be generous rich. If you're selfish broke, you'll probably be selfish rich. Money doesn't create your character. It reveals it and expands your reach. The investor mindset says, wealth is not about worshiping money. It's about buying freedom, dignity, time, and the ability to help without asking permission. Lie 2: a stable job is the only path to security. This one is powerful because it sounds responsible. Get the stable job, stay loyal, climb slowly, retire eventually. That's supposed to be security. But what if that security is really just dependence with good branding? What if it's a cage with benefits? The modern version of the invisible manual doesn't chain you with iron. It chains you with direct deposit. These are the golden handcuffs. You can't quit because the bills are too high. You can't pivot because your lifestyle depends on the paycheck. You can't think long-term because every month resets the pressure. And meanwhile, the labor market itself tells a different story than the fantasy of lifetime stability. In January 2024, median tenure with a current employer was just 3.9 years overall, and 3.5 years in the private sector. In May 2026 alone, U.S. employers reported 1.7 million layoffs and discharges. BLS tenure, BLS jolts. That doesn't mean jobs are bad. It means jobs are not enough. A job is a tool. A paycheck is a seed, but if your entire life depends on one institution continuing to choose you, you are not secure. You are exposed. True security is not, will they keep paying me? True security is, what do I own if they stop? The investor mindset says, build assets, build reserves, build income streams that do not ask your boss for permission to exist. Lie 3: debt is just a normal part of adult life. This is where the manual gets sneaky. It doesn't usually say, go ruin yourself. It says, this is just what adults do. You need a car payment. You need debt for school. You need debt for status. You deserve it. And if everybody around you is financed to the ceiling, it stops looking dangerous. It starts looking normal. That's how traps work. Take the car payment trap. An $800 payment doesn't sound catastrophic in a culture where average new car payments are already near that level. But stretch that across 84 months, and you've committed $67,200 in raw cash flow. If that same $800 were invested monthly for 7 years at an 8% annual return, it would grow to roughly $89,700. So the real cost isn't just the payment. It's the payment plus the future wealth it never got a chance to become. That's a 6-figure decision, disguised as transportation, payment and term context, Experience, and then there's depreciation. Kelley Blue Book says the average new car depreciates by about 55% after 5 years, with the biggest drop happening in the first 3 years. Kelley Blue Book. So, let's be honest about what's happening. You're borrowing long to buy something that falls in value fast, then defending the purchase because your identity got attached to it. That's what I call automotive Stockholm Syndrome. People will tell you the truck is reliable, deserved, necessary, and smart. Not always because it's true, but because admitting the trap would hurt too much. The investor mindset says, debt used to build cash flow is one conversation. Debt used to cosplay wealth is another. Learn the difference. Lie 4. Money is for buying things I deserve. This lie sounds emotionally fair. I work hard. I deserve nice things. I should enjoy my money. And yes, enjoy your life. Absolutely. But the invisible manual twists that healthy idea into financial self-sabotage. It teaches you to evaluate purchases with one question. Can I afford the monthly payment? That is consumer thinking. Investors ask a different question. What is this costing my future? That dinner, that car, that gadget, that upgrade, that luxury apartment, that treat-yourself habit. Every dollar spent is not just a dollar gone. It is a worker you fired before it could go earn more workers. That's the shift, from price to opportunity cost, from payment to future wealth, from consumption to ownership. Society depends on you staying in consumer mode. Ads need it, lenders need it, platforms need it. Entire industries are built on keeping you emotionally triggered and financially reactive, because a person who invests first and spends later is harder to monetize. The investor mindset says, buy assets that can pay for your lifestyle before your lifestyle consumes your assets. Lie 5. Your income is capped by the hours you work. This is one of the most destructive ideas in the manual. It tells you your life is a transaction. 1 hour in, 1 hour paid. That's fine for survival. It's terrible for wealth because time is finite. You can only work so many hours. You can only take so many shifts. You can only grind so long before your body, mind, or family pays the bill. If your income stops when you stop, you don't own a machine. You are the machine. Wealthy people obsess over leverage, not just money leverage, time leverage, systems, assets, ownership, equity, businesses, content that keeps working, investments that keep compounding. This is why the first $100,000 feels painfully slow. At the beginning, you are doing almost all the lifting. Your savings rate matters more than your returns. Your discipline matters more than your brilliance. But then compounding starts showing up like an employee you never hired. The next $100,000 can come faster because now your money is helping. That's why the beginning feels unfair. It is unfair, but it is also why consistency beats intensity. The investor mindset says, stop asking, how can I work more? Start asking, how can this effort keep paying me after today? Lie 6. If your friends and family are comfortable, you should be too. Here's the hard part nobody wants to say out loud. If you break the manual, some people will resent you for it. Not because you hurt them, because your change confronts their choices. When you stop financing everything, when you stop upgrading for appearances, when you start investing, when you say no to dumb spending, when you become harder to pressure, you disrupt the social script. People bonded to broke thinking often call disciplined behavior extreme. They'll say, you only live once. You've changed. You think you're better than us. Why are you so obsessed with money? But what they often mean is, your behavior is forcing me to think about mine. And most people would rather defend the manual than question it. So yes, growth can get lonely. You may lose some approval, some invitations, some emotional ease, but you have to decide, would you rather be temporarily uncomfortable socially or permanently uncomfortable financially? The investor mindset says, you do not need group permission to stop making self-destructive decisions. Lie 7. Wealth is for other people, not people like me. This is the deepest lie because it becomes identity. It doesn't just control your bank account. It controls what you believe is realistic for someone like you. The manual teaches you to call yourself practical, responsible, realistic. Meanwhile, anyone trying to build wealth gets labeled delusional, risky, obsessed, lucky, different. But here's the truth. A lot of people never become wealthy not because they lacked intelligence, but because they never gave themselves permission to become the kind of person who builds wealth. They stayed in a mental identity that matched survival. So here's the deprogramming. Stop saying, I'm trying to save. Start saying, I am a saver. Stop saying, I'm bad with money. Start saying, I am learning to direct money. Stop saying, maybe one day. Start saying, I build now. Identity comes before evidence, and then evidence follows identity. So here's the action plan. First, get your first emergency fund started. Even a small buffer changes how your brain operates. The Federal Reserve says only 63% of adults could cover a $400 emergency expense with cash or its equivalent. And Vanguard research found emergency savings are strongly associated with higher financial well-being and lower stress. Federal Reserve Vanguard. So yes, start with $1,000 if that gets you moving. Then keep building. Second, use the boring strategy. Low-cost index funds are designed to track market indexes using a generally passive approach, which can reduce costs, though you still need to understand the fees you're paying. Boring wins. Consistency wins. Drama loses. Third, question one automatic financial decision today. Just one. One subscription. One car fantasy. One status purchase. One payment plan. One habit you've been calling normal. Ask yourself, did I choose this? Or was I programmed into it? Because that's the real question. Are you the architect of your future? Or are you a victim of your programming? If this video hit a nerve, good. That means the programming is cracking. Drop a comment with one financial rule you were taught that you no longer believe. And if you want more videos that teach you how to think like an owner instead of a consumer, subscribe, because the system has an invisible manual, but you do not have to keep reading from it.